Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Rob. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a couple tricks and also talk about the new year. So let's just give a listen to this track for a few minutes here, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is a situation that arises, and I encounter it quite often, is when I have a song idea or I'm working just on a blank slate project and I start getting a pretty decent song idea. And so I drag in a loop like this right here. This is a top loop, and then I got a kick with it. Just to get a backbeat, to get the idea going and the bass line, just something to keep time. But what happens with me is I get going along, this loop is really pretty good. So I end up keeping a loop and getting really fond of the loop. But you don't have any control because, although it sounds good, you don't have any control. You may want the hats, because this has hats and a clap. See, there's a clap right there, and then it's got little hats in there. There's an off, kind of like an off beat hat, and then little, like maybe shaker hats in there. But then you got a clap, and you may want to have different mixing on the hat loop than you do the clap. So I want to show you how to take care of that in the way I've done it here today. What I've done is I've gone in and I've removed the clap, just sliced it out, bounced it. You have to bounce it because once you slice it and drag it out of a loop, it's still just a little clip pointing to an original file, and you can't drag it into Ultrabeat, which is what I've done here. I've cut it out and I've dragged it into Ultrabeat. And so let me mute this and then unmute. And then what I did also is I went in and I modified the loop. Let me play that for you first. Let's play it without the kick. So I've gone in and I've sliced out the clap in this loop, and I've replaced it with another little shaker instead of the clap. So you can see down here, the original loop, you've got the clap. I just put a little shaker in its place. Then down here, there's a shaker, but it's toward the back end of the loop. It gets a little bit more busy. And then I actually made it even busier back here with a kind of doubled up. And you can see it's also shifted. It's got a little bit of groove in it. And I kept that. So let me play it without the loop, because you basically heard the track with the original loop. So let me play the track now with everything, and I'll A-B it here. Let me just A-B it for you here. Okay, now there it is with the hi-hat loop and the clap playing separate. They're both being triggered in, well, actually this is an audio file that I just showed you, this one here. And then this one's, the clap is being triggered in Ultrabeat. So that's what that is. And so now let me play the original. So they're real similar, and you may be thinking, what's the point? Well, the thing is that I'm kind of producing nowadays without adding a lot of processing, even though this is a track that's kind of an older idea, and it does have some processing on it, but I'm trying to pick sounds that sound good on their own. And so later on, I may want to add a little distortion to this clap. I got a little bit of compression to this clap, the solo clap. But here I have no compression at all. And then on the loop, I've got just a little bit different EQ profile. I got a little boost here at 3K and a little bit at 12. So you can change the sound up a little bit, and I'm probably going to do a little bit more and maybe add a little bit of distortion to the clap and make it sound a little bit crispier. I have matched the profile as far as the reverb send. So let me mute this one, the original top loop, and listen to the track. It's not going to sound a whole lot different, but the point is that you have control. And another point is that I wanted to make is, with the new year coming up, I want to encourage everybody out there that's producing and listening, is if you find yourself in a situation like this, where you've got a loop that you're really fond of and you don't want to, gosh, I don't want to mess it up, it sounds so good, is to not be afraid of taking a wrecking ball to your track. Go in there and start slicing everything up. Do what you want to do. You can make it work. That's the idea of, if you want to get better, you got to do things that you haven't done before. And that's one thing I really encourage you doing, because I have actually watched one time for 12 hours in San Francisco. Seven Skies held a workshop. David Seven Skies, I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard of him, in San Francisco at Pure Mind, the school, the audio school, music production school. And the one thing that struck me about David Seven Skies is his fearless attitude. If he wanted to do something in his track, he just did it. He went in there and he started slicing and dicing. He started dragging stuff in, and he made it work because he had done it so many times. He knew how to face any situation and make it work, or if it didn't work, he just moves on. And that's the thing. Instead of getting caught in loop land and getting trapped by a drum loop, set yourself free, go in there with a wrecking ball, do something different, break it down, and you'll be able to make it work. And if you can't make it work this time, you'll learn things as you go along, and you'll be better for it. So let me play the track with the two elements broken up here. Now I'm going to A-B it back and forth here. So you can see it's very subtle right now, but you may want to keep it subtle and just have a little bit more control of the crispiness of the clap versus the smoothness and the silkiness of the hats. You may want to do something with the stereo image of the hats. As you can see here, I actually narrowed down the stereo image of the clap. It's very subtle, but it makes the mix of the other spatial elements that have spatial effects, the other elements that have spatial effects on them, translate better into the mix. So it's all about control. It's all about getting in there and just doing the work and just having confidence that you're going to be able to make it work. That's what I would encourage a lot of you out there to just take a wrecking ball to your track as a rule. And unless it's just really, really good and it's done. But if you want to change something, get in there and do it. That's my resolution, among other things, which is the way I'm arranging and producing from now on. What I'll do is I'll just show you kind of like the way that it's actually done here. You zoom in on this track. And so if you wanted to remove this clap, as you can see, it's got kind of a little lead in, the transient. It's got a little bit of a lead in, so you want to get it all. So what you do is on Logic, you have a marquee tool. Just go in there and slice it out. It's like that. And this is another, happens to be another audio track down here. Copy and drag it down here. All right. Then you got to bounce it in place because this clip is just pointing to this original right here. So it's not going to, you're not going to be able to drag this into Ultrabeat. So you bounce this down, and then what you do is when you get the MIDI, you got to take and slide the MIDI. I've got another clap in here. I was experimenting around. You slide the MIDI to the slot where you drag that in a little bit forward to make it, to accommodate, because the sample is going to start with that little lead in. So you want to have a little bit of lead in on your MIDI note, on all your MIDI notes that play that trigger that clap. And then, so once you do that, then you can go in again. For example, go in here with the Ultrabeat. Not Ultrabeat. You go in here with the, to replace this clap, you cut it out. Just delete it. Then you go in here with your marquee tool, which is Command. You take this one out. Copy and drag it over here. That's going to be on time, but you got a little gap there. So you want to drag this one up to meet. Then you want, well, let's see, let's zoom in a little bit more. Drag the two files together. Then you want to come in here and you want to fade out. Just like that. Then you want to fade this one in. Like so. Whoops. You want to fade this one in. So you won't get any pops. So now let's play it. I'll solo it here. There's another clap in there, but you just keep going in there and doing that. So, excuse me. So you got one clap out of there, and then you got another clap over here that's got a hat, and it happens to be a shifted hat. So you got a little bit of room. This little hat or shaker or whatever it is, it's going to more than drown out the tail end of the clap. So you just go in here again. Marquee tool. You want to go right up to where that one starts. Delete it. Then you may want to just grab, let's just grab this one again. That's a good one. But you don't need that much. So I'm going to take a little bit less, kind of eyeball it here. Drag it in there. As you can see, it's lined up. And then what I did is I went a little bit too far there. Okay. And then now this one has a good, so there you go. Now let's play it again. Now that we got, See? So now I've pretty much got it built. So I got I think 2 more claps to get out of here, and then we're done. So that's the way uh, you can go in there, and you can give yourself a little bit more flexibility. But the main point is to not get all possessive of the way your track already is. Go in there with a wrecking ball and learn to just handle it. And I can't emphasize that enough. That is the one thing that I learned by watching a professional producer in action is they are confident. They get in there and they just do it. So even though this isn't a dramatic change to the track, what it does is it allows me to learn new skills, and it gives me more flexibility, adds that little bit of something extra that separates the amateur tracks from the professional tracks. And not saying that I'm not done learning. Nobody's ever done learning, but that's how you get better. Just keep challenging yourself and getting in there with the wrecking ball. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year. This is New Year's Eve right now. It's a few more hours. Some of you have probably already dancing on the tables over maybe other parts of the world. But a happy new year to everyone, and God bless. Thanks.